I'm 10 years old. This clarinet, a former model, is lying on top of the table in our living room in my flat roof detached house where I grew up. My first clarinet lesson. My teacher, Mr. Zwicker. And Mr. Zwicker, the clarinet is lying there on the table. It's flashing. It's cool. I want to grab it. Mr. Zwicker says something to me. A sentence I have not forgotten since I was 10 years old. Zwicker says, "Florian, till today you breathe through your lungs. From now on I want you to breathe through the holes in your belt." Clarinet players, trumpet players, saxophone players, Luciano Pavarotti, yoga, meditation, public speakers. We all breathe through the holes in our belt. But that's not the point. The point is, I have not forgotten it since I was 10 years old. Now think about all the phrases, all the sentences you've heard in your life, not on TV, private people, in your private life. How many sentences, phrases do you remember still? Gone with the wind. Da 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 da. We forget everything. But as a speaker, a presenter, a business presenter, don't you want them to remember your content? Don't you want to be memorable? Don't you want to drill into the long-term memory? Here are 3 ideas to make that happen. To drill into the long-term memory, to make your content immortal. The first idea. A long-term client of mine is the Swiss pharmaceutical company Roche. It was an online training, 8 participants and me on Zoom. It was in December 2020. In one of the speeches, Rodrigo from Sao Paulo in Brazil shares his story about his difficult upbringing. Rodrigo grew up in Las Favelas in Sao Paulo, poor area. 6 siblings, the fridge always empty. At school, all the kids had food, not Rodrigo. There was one boy. He always had this Petit Suisse, this little strawberry yogurt. And Rodrigo was always jealous. Rodrigo grows up. He's now 12, 13, puberty. He has steel green eyes, curly black hair, super handsome boy. He's the target of the bully of his neighborhood. And one day the bully puts him into a trash bin. And in that trash bin, empty Petit Suisse. His first paycheck, his first rental apartment in Sao Paulo. There he is, Rodrigo. He fills up the entire fridge from bottom to top with Petit Suisse. And I'm like, guys, this is a pattern. This is a pattern. We need a name for that pattern. I remember those Roche guys looking at me like, huh? But then I told them, yeah, look guys, every single time since 2009, and at the time of this recording, more than 12,000 speeches, every time there is an object that I can touch and that I can see like Petit Suisse, and that has a higher symbolic meaning. Every single time, I remember it. It's sticky as glue. I need a name for that. An object with a higher symbolic meaning. Jordy, this is Jordy, risk manager. I told Jordy, you remind me of ZZ Top. Jordy says, Flo, I got a name for you. What's the name? It's an 8-ball. And my friend, these are the moments as a public speaking coach and rhetoric coach and coach for charisma when I get rhetorical orgasms. I cannot say that, don't quote me on that. But that's intellectual beauty. Of course, the 8-ball. It sticks out of the other balls and it has a higher symbolic meaning. It stands for right pocket, winning, wrong pocket, losing. Winning or losing in life, the 8-ball. Since December 2020, ever since the training with Rodrigo, I collect 8 balls in this notebook. And it's simply amazing. I remember the white ball of the guy who went as an exchange student to an American home and the father was an alcoholic, and he threw a white ball in front of the guy on the floor, and he stayed for 4 hours in a room, couldn't call his parents, there was no smartphones. Loneliness, the white ball, loneliness. The wooden ibex, the father who did the handicraft work, wooden animals, and on his deathbed, as a symbol of the love for his son, father-son love, he gave him his last piece. the wooden ibex, or the snow globe. The snow globe. Petit Suisse, the white bowl, the wooden ibex, the snow globe. All these stories I remember. So find 8 balls in your life. Objects that have a higher symbolic meaning, like love, perseverance, freedom, friendship, passion, and add these 8 balls to your presentations, business presentations, any presentation, when it serves the message. 8 balls are immortal. Immortal content. When you see the snake, what's the meaning of the snake for you? The connotation. Think about films, movies, novels. Think about the original snake, the Adam and Eve snake. What is the meaning of the snake for you? What is its connotation? These here are my Stammtisch brothers. Stammtisch in German, Stamm, the trunk, Tisch, the table of the trunk. This is where in German bars the regulars meet every day to drink beer and talk about politics. On the upper left side you see Alex Lang, 35 years of sales coaching. He is a systemic sales coach. And down there, badass team builder and former priest Tobias Rodriguez, super buddies. And in July 2020, at the peak of the COVID, we founded our Zoom Stammtisch of personal growth. Every Wednesday from more or less 8:30, 8-ish p.m. to 1:40, 8-ish a.m. more or less, we have a Stammtisch of personal growth. We talk about philosophical topics like 5 hours of talking about arrogance, or we do infographics, or we do storytelling games. We even have a mission statement. This is our mission statement. We are looking for big hearts who tell their stories in an unconventional way, drunk. This is my email. If you want to join as a guest once, feel free, come. It's an amazing thing. One Stammtisch in the year 2021, we were talking about a special thing. People who turn us off. You know these people you really cannot deal with? And every one of us has different people who turn them off. At that moment, coming from her Taekwondo training, my special Rose joined the Stammtisch, and we had 4 different kinds of people who turn us off completely. Rose cannot stand people who belittle her. Alex hates when they betray him. Toby, he cannot stand when they exploit him. And I hate it when they deceive me. Once we knew that, Toby came up with an idea. Hey, why don't we find an archetype? An archetype for each one of these categories. What is an archetype? This is an archetype. It's the original pattern. After 2 hours of discussing back and forth, we had our 4 archetypes. Rose hates snobs. Alex hates Brutus. I hate the snake. And Toby hates the vampire. Archetypes are metaphors on speed. Your audience will never forget them. Now think about your clients, internal, external, your colleagues, your stakeholders, everyone around you. Would it be out of the world to assume that there are Gordon Geckos or Mother Teresas or Grus or Godfathers? Use archetypes in your presentations. Archetypes for people, archetypes for things. Give it names. It's immortal content. Idea number 3. What do these 3 actions, activities have in common? They're rituals. And what is a ritual? This is a ritual. This photo here was taken during an amazing event. It's called Game Changers. I co-organized it with Tobias Rodriguez, you just met him, the badass team builder, and Tony Anagor, the emotionally intelligent negotiator. The person highlighted here is Olivia Schofield. Olivia is a great friend of mine for many years, and she's a great speaker, trainer, coach, stage monster. She gave a workshop at that event, and the workshop, a 15-minute power workshop, was about how you can benefit from a bad experience in your youth that you turned into a big strength today. At one point, Olivia distributed eatable paper. And on that paper, every one of us, we had to write down in one word some scar from our youth. And I right away remembered André Refior. André Refior, the fighter guy, the big guy, the alpha dog, the leader of the pack. I'm 14 years old, beginning of 14. I am a late developer. And in front of more or less 20 people in this public park, André Refior said, "What do you want, Mook? You don't have beep and you don't have beep." That's a big scar. But Olivia made us write that scar, and I put Andre on that eatable paper. And then she made us swallow it and eat the pain, the scar of our youth. It was really eatable. And you know, that did something to me. That is a ritual. You know, it doesn't have to be the breaking bread or the big Thanksgiving ritual. In speaking, presentations, workshop, it can be a light version of a ritual. I will never forget that eatable paper in my life. A ritual is immortal content. So here you have the 3 ideas to make your content become immortal. The 8-ball. Look for objects in your life that have a higher symbolic meaning and add them to your speaking. Think about archetypes of people, of things you can use. The original pattern that is immortal, like the vampire or Brutus or the snob or the snake. And of course, the ritual is absolutely immortal. I will never forget the eatable paper of Olivia. These are 3 ideas to make your content immortal. Florian, that's all nice, but what can I do now in my next business presentation? Start with 8 balls. Look for 8 balls in your life. Dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper. You will find 8 balls. You will find objects with a symbolic meaning, and these add them to your speaking. Immortal. It's the first easy step. Look for 8 balls. In the meantime, I will continue to explore this fascinating world of communication. And of course, I will continue to breathe through the holes in my belt.